The beer came out of the war. So there is always a relation between the beer brand and the war. Challenges, one thing was being a new brand, nobody would want to try, nobody would want to give you a free entry into things. They should not be afraid to take that decision, no matter if it's wrong or right. It can impact their life, but they have to learn how to fail, how that would impact them, and go forward. I don't drink alcohol at all, and I've never had alcohol in my life.
Oh my gosh, so you don't even drink your product?
No. Leadership is a decision that you are understanding that you are going to take a decision. It could be right, it could be wrong, but how to live with it.
Hi, and welcome to Indian Explorers. In this podcast, we talk about Indian success stories. I am Sabrina, and together with my co-host Amit, we will get to understand the journey of our guests and what drives them. Their optimism, patience, idealism, and courage, these are their attributes which we hope to bring to life in our conversations with them. So if you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. So, Amidu, today we have a fun conversation. We're going to talk about beer. And since it's Friday when we're recording, it's the perfect time. We have Chandu with us. His journey is a testament to resilience, creativity, and the power of following one's passion. Born in Kerala, he now lives in Poland, where he created a rapidly growing beer brand, and he is here to tell us all about it. So welcome to the show, Chandu. Thanks for being with us from Poland.
Thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, Amit, for the opportunity as well. It's fun to be with guys on a Friday. As you clearly said, it's a Friday evening.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? That's what we say here in the US.
Isn't Prime Minister Modi in Poland as well?
He left yesterday to Ukraine. He was here for 2 days. He was here on 21st and 22nd.
Ukraine. Okay.
What'd you say to him?
I mean, he just, I had a one-on-one meeting with him, and it was pretty cool. Because I was part of Operation Ganga, which happened in 2022, which is the evacuation of Indian students from Ukraine. So I was one of the guys who were leading the volunteers. So that's the reason why we had a one-on-one meeting. And he thanked for that particular event and also for continually supporting the Indian people here in Poland if they are in some sort of distress. Whatever I could do, I do. And also, obviously, for the entrepreneurial drive which Indians have, and that what we do here back in Poland, which makes the country proud.
What's he like? What was he doing in Poland? I actually haven't followed.
He was here actually on his way to Ukraine, because that's when he's trying to, I suppose, broker a deal between Ukraine and Russia so that the war stops. Because, in this real world situation, he's one person who has stakes on both ends and who can really pull out something out of both ends, because Ukraine as well as Russia has got the influence on East and the West. So he's a perfect person to do so. And he's not traveling alone. I suppose there is something happening because media speaks about Modi coming in, but there was Ajit Doval as well as Jay Shankar. So when the NSA and foreign minister is along with the prime minister, there's something seriously going on. And Poland, he had various engagements. I don't know how much people are sure. There's a very strong tie between India and Poland, because during World War II, when Poland was being attacked, a ship carrying Polish refugees, many, I think many of them, even in Africa or many European countries, actually turned them away. And finally, king in Gujarat, in Jamnagar, they accepted the refugees. They made a little Poland over there. Around 6,000 families, men, women, children, were taken care by this Maharaja Digvijay Singh in Gujarat. So they have actually a school in his name. There's a square in his name, and there's a particular day which they celebrate. And there are a few survivors even from that era, even today, living in Poland, who really remember what was there, what was it like during that time. And they're very thankful for it. So Modi had visited all these monuments and everything. And he met the Indian diaspora as always. Wherever he goes, he meets them, and everywhere there's the same enthusiastic diaspora. Because in India, obviously, you don't get to meet your prime minister so close. When you're abroad, you're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And you said that you helped bring Indian students from the Ukraine
not me in the sense. I was the first responder. I was at the border along the first, and then me along with my friend, actually, we two. His name is Pradeep. We were the first responders. We were at the border for crossing, and then we created a group of 298 volunteers, and we opened up three different camp areas in 3 different borders of Ukraine, helping Indian students to cross to Poland, which would have been easier. So where they were taken in, and then the embassy had taken them to the nearest airport. From there, they were flown back to India. So I was there like seven days and nights, no food, nothing,
Very
hardly like,
admirable.
see,
Look
like
forward
if
to
you look at it,
the
yeah, I mean, if you look at, like, it was a chance to serve our nation. If you look at all the like army personnel or anybody who's standing at the border in India, nobody knows their name or the faces. We just came in because we were abroad and we did something which was fraction of what those guys are doing back home. So this was more
Yeah.
like a duty for us rather than, okay, let's try and do it. It's just a duty for our nation wherever we are. We just felt that
you're
way.
a
Okay,
hero.
Chandu, I thought we were going to start off by talking about beer. That's how I introduced you, and now look at what an admirable person you are.
It's actually
It's
a great,
wonderful.
great thing to talk about it because the beer came out of the war. So there is
I
always a
know.
relation between the beer brand and the war. Because
Yeah,
technically
maybe
speaking,
we.
I represent an organization called Indo-Polish Chamber of Commerce and Industries. We are commercial partners of the Indian Embassy. So what we do is we basically liaise between the governments when Indian companies want to move to Europe and same way from Europe to India. So we usually do the due diligence work and the paperwork and also the connections and whatnot. So I had a client from India, basically from Varanasi. He wanted to open up his business of trading rice, Indian rice, from India to any country in Europe. So our organization was fronting, and I was basically the guy who was helping him set up and sell his products in Europe. And here in Poland, we have a little group of Africans, and they had a particular order of rice flakes, like the one which we call poha in India. And this shipment was like 5 tons. It was not like a big amount. It was the initial order of 5 tons. Just 4 days before the ship was to dock in Hamburg, where we get the clearance, that's when the Russia-Ukraine war started. And the dollar and being the trading currency, dollar and the Polish currency, the rates went haywire. So the whole deal collapsed, and the guy didn't know. Okay, rice would sell. It would sit for 2 years. We could still sell it. Price would stabilize later. It wouldn't be a problem. But flakes was very particular and didn't know what to do with it. Sending it back would cost more, and that would completely loss. So that's when he asked, like, being chamber, do you have any other ideas which we can pivot to? We
Are
tried
the
different
flakes
things.
are
Yeah,
the flakes perishable? I understand rice can be
2 years.
maintained for
2 years.
time, but flakes are perishable? Or
It
why
is
was
actually,
flakes different to rice?
it is perishable, but the thing is, the rice as well as the flakes, you have to store it. Yeah. So the storage space would cost, and the product cost would not be justified. Rice you can justify it because you can sell it later for a different price. But flakes is something which is like nobody is going to buy it just out of a random number. Yeah. So that's one thing which was concerning. And we tried actually initially to check if is there any possibility to make pet food for dogs and cats. I did try with few companies. That's when I realized like actually pets eat much better food than us, because the R&D would take 9 months to get a certification that if this is safe or no. So then that was a no-go. And back to Google just to check what are other possibilities we have. That's when we read about a beer called Kumban, which is in UK, which they did from rice flakes, rice actually, Palakkad and rice. Palakkad and rice is pretty famous.
So
It's a
you
place
got your
in
idea
Kerala.
from Google?
Yeah. So Google gave the idea, and that's when we went to a brewery to check if it's a possibility. Again, not in the beer business, but the brewery said that you have to brew a minimum of 2,000 liters. That's like 4,000 bottles when it's come to a half a liter bottle. So then now the other situation was I have to find customers for the beer. So I had to go to the restaurants and tell them that, look, and I'll give you samples, few of them, just to try because I want to do something like this. And few of my friendly restaurants who had like friends having restaurants, they said, okay, fine, let's try that. And all I wanted to was finish it off.
So you had friends in Poland. You had friends in Indian restaurants in Poland.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are quite a lot of them. Like if you take
Yeah.
Warsaw, which is the capital city, we have 144 Indian restaurants.
Wow.
144 Indian restaurants?
Yeah,
We
just
have
in one city.
We have 10 in Chile. What's the population of Poland and Warsaw?
Wow.
Population of Poland is around 38 million, and Warsaw is around 2 million.
Okay. Oh, that's
Not
big.
that big.
No,
Oh,
but
I was like,
Polish people
that's like
love
San
Indian food.
Antonio.
Because of the spice? They like chilies?
Yeah, they do. There are people who eat really spicy food, like actually much spicier than what we eat. So they
And
love
what
it.
were you? I know you said you were working with the chamber. Were
Yeah.
you were you working there or you were just a member of the chamber?
I was a member of a chamber, and technically, like the way the chamber works is an honorary position. But then I have my own
Okay.
consulting business. So when the order
Okay,
comes
so
in,
you
my
were
consulting business
consulting.
builds them. But I was their director for business relations. So anything which comes to me first, and then it goes around to different department based on which industry they are in, because we have different
Got it.
departments in the
Where were you
chamber.
living? Where
In
were you
Warsaw,
living?
in
But what
Warsaw.
got you to Warsaw in the first place? I mean, it's not like there's an Indian in Warsaw who, there must be a reason
No,
to
no,
get to Warsaw, right?
I used to live in Spain. I used to live in Barcelona. I did my master's in
Okay.
Spain, and I used to work for a company called Leica Mobile, which is the world's largest virtual network operator. So I used to work
Like
for
a
them. And then,
LYCA.
yeah, LYCA.
Yeah,
They
yeah, I know
sent
them.
me
Yeah.
over. They sent me
They
over
sent
from
you to
Spain to Poland to launch Leica in Poland. That's how I ended up in Poland.
Wow. And you were married or you went as a bachelor?
I went as a bachelor, but we met in Spain actually. Me and my wife, who was my girlfriend then, we met in Spain.
Okay, and she's Indian?
No, she's Polish.
Oh, so you met a Polish
Yes,
girl in Spain,
yes,
then Leica sent you to
Poland.
Poland. She
Yes.
was still in Spain, and
No, no,
then
no.
you ended up,
She had flown back to Poland to finish her
okay,
studies because she was on Erasmus over there in Spain. She was planning to move to Spain in May, and company sends me in April to Poland.
sounds like you requested the move.
No, it was more of a destiny, most probably.
Yes, it was meant to be.
Yeah,
Serendipity.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, so then I mean, you knew nothing about the beer business.
No, I mean,
So,
I used to sell because I used to work in Irish pub. So selling part I
okay,
knew, but apart from that, no, nothing.
Do you
okay.
drink? Do
Not
you
at all.
drink beer? Are you,
I don't drink
sorry?
alcohol at all, and I've never had alcohol in my life.
Oh my gosh, so you don't even drink your product.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
This is
So
a
you're a non-alcoholic
Yes.
selling beer in
Yes.
Poland.
Yes.
And tell us about how you came up with the branding and, what's the beer called
name.
and how's it doing?
See, as I said about again the war connection, and we had so many volunteers. Mostly the volunteers were from my home state because that was more comfortable for me to bring in together. And people coming from Kerala, we speak the language Malayalam, and we are called Malayalis. That is the colloquial word for us. Yeah. So when actually the beer business went big, even before it was a business, when I started giving out at my restaurant, the friends' restaurants, many started calling me back asking for more because they said your beer is really different from the rest. It's much more
Okay.
selling than water, and women too love it. It's more light to go with the food because the other Indian beers, it was preferably Kingfisher or Cobra, which was mostly selling. But the only issue was they always drink one bottle of beer because any bottle of beer with Indian food, burping starts after the food. So
Yeah,
many
it's
don't
heavy.
Gassy.
prefer to have much. And with this beer, that was something which they were not having, and they were drinking a couple of beers. It was easily going down. So then they were
More
the ones, the
money.
restaurant were the ones asked like, why don't you come with an Indian brand? But I didn't want to come with an Indian brand. The reason being, if you're an Indian brand, you're cutting yourself down to Indian restaurants. That's the mindset. People would forget you the moment they step out of the restaurant. But I wanted something Indianness as well. That's when I thought, like, why don't we name it Malayali as a tribute to the volunteers? Like, no disrespect to the other Indian volunteers. Like, we all are Indians at the end of the day. It's a bigger picture. But why not Malayali? Just checked out of a hunch if I could get the trademark. And to my surprise, I got it for alcohol and beverage. That's how I started. But thanks to the name, I got a lot of PR free because people are crazy with names. So I was one such person who didn't build a brand. Actually, I took a brand and made a product of it. I did the other way because Malayali already existed in terms of being a word. So that's more like. And now it's picked up well. We are in 9 countries as of today. The country-wise in large number, but not in every Indian restaurants. Let's say, as I said, like we have 144 in Warsaw. We are only in 39. What we specifically do, we in the sense my partner as well. There's a partner for my partner of me, like his name is Sargiv. He's my partner. So what we do is we map areas and we look at the footfalls on area wise and then concentrate on those high footfall restaurants rather than spreading and putting it everywhere.
Keralites, is that what it's called? People from Kerala?
Kerala
Keralites?
are called Keralites, but the people who
Keralites.
speak language Malayalam are called Malayalis.
So Malayalis, correct me if I'm wrong, Malayalis drink. Like
A
it's
lot.
you are the exception. Like
You see
Malayalis
that?
drink a lot, like the
Yes.
top five
Yes.
in states in terms of alcohol consumption, right?
Absolutely.
And it's not just beer. They're drinking
No.
vodka, tequila, they're drinking everything.
Brandy and
Right.
whiskey.
Yeah, the whole gamut, right? Even wines become big in India, right?
Yeah, and people always ask me like, why Malayali? Why didn't you put some other name? Like,
That's where you're from.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's not about being from. If you really look at like, see, in what I always feel is, if you watch a movie in a country, you can get a culture of it. So if you look at the region, India is such a huge country from north to south, east to west. You take any regional movie, any person who's drinking or consuming alcohol would be either the negative character in the movie, or a gangster,
Yeah.
or a bad character, or a villain. Apart from Kerala movies, the hero would be sitting with his friends and drinking. We celebrate it. So it's a part of our culture. So this was the apt
Yeah.
name to put for it. That's why the product got traction. If I had put something called Gujaratis, they would have, killed me most probably by now.
Would this work in India? Have you tried selling it in India?
We have a lot of inquiries from India.
Yeah.
But entering Indian market is one hard ask, which we are planning to in next year. But initially, we want to enter those markets where there are Indians, like in large number, like US, UK, UAE, and we educate the Indian diaspora that there is such a product. And then once it's ready, we go to the mainland where we want to be, where
Got
we
it.
want
So
to be.
you mentioned 9 countries. What's the
Yeah.
entry strategy in each country? Are you just going to the neighboring countries from Poland, so the rest of Eastern Europe? And are you targeting Indian restaurants, or just walk us through a bit the strategy?
Yeah, the strategy is simple. What we look at is like we look into those distributors who are into FMCG, specifically selling Indian products. So technically, they have the access to the Indian restaurants in almost all places. So we initially go to them, and we always go to the second biggest distributor, because the first one is always the first one and there's no competition. Second one will always have the hunger. So we always go for the second one, and through them we enter the market. And that has been really helpful for us so far.
And they're selling other Indian spices and masalas and other Indian
Yes.
products already in the
Yes.
FMCG space. Got it.
Yes.
Smart.
What makes it so light? Is it the rice flakes?
Yes.
What's the
Or
extra
Flakes.
ingredient?
the flakes makes it lighter.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, the thing is that
We want
this
all
is
the
not a
ingredients.
rice beer, because if you look at
Don't want all the
Japanese,
ingredients.
see, it's like watching a Bruce Lee movie and nobody's going to do karate like him anyway. So beer is a beer at the end of the day. Everybody would do. Even this recipe of ours, we tried 9 times. That means we failed 8.
Okay.
And this was the 9th recipe, which went well. So anybody could come with something
What was that?
better
How
than
long
this.
was that process?
8 months.
The 8 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long was the shelf life of the rice flakes?
Rice flakes was basically 2.5 years.
Okay.
And now
But
we
you
are
knew
actually
that
having supply and
there
plenty.
wasn't a demand. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So interesting.
How long do you plan to live in Poland? Like, I mean, you mentioned you married a Polish. Are you
Yes.
happy living there forever, or are your
No, I
children
don't.
happy there?
I mean, children, of course, are happy. I mean, they are happy because they're born here and they are more Polish anyway than Indian, though they are half Indian. Me, I mean, I'm not stuck to any place. I've lived in many countries and I still don't think that I would be living here forever, but you never know. I still hold Indian passport.
It's a fascinating story, Sabrina.
It is. I think we're a little like speechless. It's like such a neat story. And especially that, unfortunately, that it came out of the Ukraine war, but that you were able to help,
Right, he doesn't drink.
No.
He
I'm
doesn't
saying
drink.
the
He's a
Ukraine
hero.
war
Yeah.
to start a beer company. Like who would have thought that?
I want to know more about you. We keep calling you Chandu, but give us your
Yes.
full name, give us your
My full name
background.
is
What's your
My full name is Chandramohan Nallur, and I'm from state of Kerala. I did my master's at Barcelona, ESERP school in Barcelona, which is affiliated to the University of Barcelona. I came in 2007 to Spain. I spent my young days in Spain, in Barcelona, partying, clubbing. Though I don't drink, I used to work in Irish pubs. It was the best time in life. And then
Yeah.
moved
And
to Poland.
parents,
Parents, they're back home in
parents are
India.
back at home. How
Yes.
often do you go visit them?
I mean, usually I used to visit them once a year. Now I prefer mostly to bring my mom. My father can't travel because he's a surviving cancer patient, so he can't travel anymore. My mother, I prefer bringing her here because I could spend more time she being here than me going to India. Because these days going to India is mostly like 5 days or 6 days for some purpose and fly back in. So that's how it's going these days. I went to India couple of months back for 5 days.
I need to ask. I didn't understand. If you survive cancer, does
Yeah.
that mean the body is delicate enough and he can't cope with the pressure of the flights, or what do you mean that he can't travel?
No,
And
one
sorry if
is like
it's too personal, but
no,
I just
no,
didn't
no, no,
understand
no,
that.
no, not at all. Like, see, for example, for having a travel insurance policy, the government has to give you a travel insurance policy, right? Not government, the companies has to issue a travel insurance policy, and they don't prefer giving insurance
Okay,
policies for cancer survivors or anything because it's a high risk category. And second,
but he can
time to
travel
time
without
timing
insurance
treatment.
if he wants to.
Yeah, time to time travel is also something which he doesn't want to do because he wants to be more comfortable with the home space which he is in. So it's more personal about him not wanting to travel much.
What I'd like to know some of the challenges you faced with Malayali Beer, with the
Apart from
company.
the eight failures,
I
failures.
mean, challenges. One thing was being a new brand. Nobody would want to try. Nobody would want to give you a free entry into things. And obviously, they will not pay at the beginning. You have to be selling on credits. So cash flow was the biggest issue which I had faced initially because coming out of, and also marketing budgets, nothing because we never planned it to be a business. It's just like out of a hunch, you do something and it comes out. So we had to do below the line and smart marketing and creating stories and things for free. And I used all my friends and those whom I'd been known for a few years to create stories along the brand. So it became a bit more viral. So it was like more of free marketing, which I had got, and that those things helped. So they were always difficult. There are going to be difficult. Even if you ask Kingfisher or even bigger brands, they might have the difficulties. It's not about that. I never think about what is difficult. I just think about what the solution is because I know there is a problem which is existing. So why think about it? It's always about seeking the solution to go forward.
Yeah.
Do you think that given that the target customer at the beginning, the distribution strategy was the Indian restaurants, and they were, like you said, friends of yours, Indian owners, do you think
Yes.
that being the Indian diaspora helped? Like if you had to target on non-Indian restaurants, it would have been much harder.
Initially, yes, because nobody, even if you look at the bigger brands like Kingfisher, I keep on saying Kingfisher because that's the most recognizable brand, and even Cobra for that reason, you won't find them in a Polish restaurant or like a non-Indian restaurant because that is the mindset which we have. We are never an international lager. We are always Indian lager. Whenever Indian comes in, it's an Indian product. So that is the first strategy. But now Malayali is one beer which is available in an Italian place, which is available in a Mexican restaurant, which is available in Polish lounges. Because the reason being, only Indians or even few Indians know what Malayali means. For a European, reading Malayali is like reading Heineken or Carlsberg. He doesn't think about India when he sees Malayali. But if I would
Not
have
necessarily
named
an Indian brand.
exactly, if I had named, let's say, Taj, or there are brands called
Yeah.
Goa, clearly they get the picture that's an Indian beer. They will never think about drinking a Goa while eating chips at home watching football. It's Heineken which comes to mind. So we want to go
Mhm.
into that international space, and this name helps for us to be outside the Indian realm as well. But initially, to create a base, to create the ball running, Indian restaurants were the base, which we always look for.
Is this your main focus now, other than as opposed to consulting? Are you more, you've shifted more to this company?
Yes, now this is what I focus more, though I have this consulting gigs time to time, but right now I'm not focusing on much of taking new consulting projects. It's Malayali which I'm sticking on and trying to build because there is traction, there is growth. So I want to basically, develop this and go forward.
Okay.
You must have VCs after you to invest and take you to the next level. Is that something you're looking at, or not really needed?
I mean, I would have loved if VCs were after me, but I'm after the VCs now. It's the other way
Okay.
because we have started just pitching. It's just been like a couple of VCs we have pitched, but yes, we are in
Yeah.
second round and second stage of certain talks, and there is an interest building up, especially because our
Great.
brand has reached UK.
And the VCs are from Europe, or are you also targeting Indian VCs?
See, Indian VCs, the only condition which always or almost everybody puts is that you have to enter India, or you have to have a very
Yeah.
strict timeline to enter India, which we are not sure at. And the
Yeah.
current VCs we are talking to are based out of Middle East, because we very recently signed a contract. Because I don't know if you know about the Middle Eastern business, there are like two companies called African Eastern and MMI. These are the two big brands who are into liquor or alcohol supply all across the Middle East. They control the market. So for UAE, which are like 7 states, we signed a 3-year contract with Gray McKenzie and Partners, part of the ADMMI group. They're one of the biggest over there. So it's like we signed a 3-year contract with them, and for Bahrain we signed with African Eastern. So we have both of them who are basically competitors on board in 2 different markets. Because we are entering those markets through them, we have a lot of interest from the Middle Eastern VCs who wants to have a piece of the whole business.
I'm dying to try the product.
Me too. And I'm not a huge beer drinker.
Neither am I.
Maybe in college I was, because
Okay.
it was at every party. It was at every Malayali party that I would go to. But
You know,
no, what's that?
no, go on. Sorry.
No. I was saying I'm like intrigued to try it, especially that you
Yeah.
said it's a light beer, that, one of the feedback you get is that women enjoy it. Yeah, you need to come to the US.
And when you said about the Malayali party, the best part was the product was basically shot down or wasn't liked, especially by the Malayalis when the first product came in, or Indians. Or
Really?
Indians, for example, like Indians never liked it
No.
because Indians don't have this tendency of drinking light beer.
Yeah.
So this was
Yeah.
more for like water for them.
Kingfisher
Yeah.
Ultra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
then-
Kingfisher's a heavier beer, correct?
It's
Ultra.
more about the alcohol strength which you require in the beer. So that's when we developed something called Malayali Power, which is 7.2. And that's the fast selling beer among Indian consumers in Europe. Because the other ones are basically consumed by the whites, the light ones. And we are the only non-alcoholic Indian brand in Europe now.
How many products do you have? So you have Malayali Power,
And Malayali non-alcoholic.
and Malayali non-alcoholic. How does that one do?
But no,
Did you like that
does
one?
really well. It outsells the other two during summer like crazy, because in Europe non-alcohol is like up to 0.5%. So we have 0.2% of alcohol. It's still considered non-alcoholic, but we are trying to develop the 0.0, which is much required for the Middle East. So we are like developing our 4th product, and it will be called Virgin Malayali because there is no alcohol in it.
Okay. So in the US, and I don't know if this is the same in Europe or, worldwide, in the US, millennials and the Gen Z, who are younger, I guess, teens to mid to late 20s, they're not as big of drinkers as our generation, like the older millennials and Gen Xers. So
Unless
that's
you're
why
British.
yes, that's why I said, I know here in the US, that's what I'm reading is they're not as big of drinkers. They'll turn to, the seltzers maybe,
Yeah.
or a pot,
Wine.
I'm assuming,
Wine.
weed. No, not even wine.
No?
No.
Not
and
wine, not wine in cups.
Yeah, that's like moms like me who go to soccer games.
I mean, see, it keeps on changing time to time. If you look at India as well,
Yeah.
in Indian market, 89% are it's not, the beer market is not, it's hardly 11% of India. 89% is of hard alcohol. So it's like 11%, that's what we would be. And we would look for like 1% to capture. That's what we would look into.
Black
Yeah.
label.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
now actually Indians tend to spend mostly on premium products rather than
Yeah.
mid cap product, like a cheaper product. No, they want to go for like bigger
Okay.
ones, and marketing plays
Top
a bigger
tequila.
part in it. Tequila is picking
Yeah.
up really well. It's
Grey
picking up really
Goose.
well. Oh yeah, and especially if you're endorsed by some celebrity, then your market is different. Like Shah Rukh Khan's son He has a vodka brand. He has a partner in Poland. The vodka is Polish. That's where they're sending it to India from here.
Okay, interesting. I wanted to ask you, what's your ultimate goal? Where, you go to sleep and you're thinking one day this is going to happen to Malayali Beer.
Rule Poland.
I mean, see, we would like to really be considered as a serious brand in the likes of Heineken and Carlsberg. So we want to grow into that stream. And obviously, like everybody wants to be number one, everybody wants to be this. That's like something which maybe I would have the same dream like any other beer owner would have. So it's a similar dream. Like everywhere you walk into, you see this product there and people drinking there, and constantly you want your product to move. That is a constant thing. But more than that, we want Malayali to grow into such a stage wherein it's just not like beer brand, but a proper international beer brand, which is recognized as an international beer brand, just not like an Indian beer brand. We want to take the Indianness to international.
Chandu, we ask all our guests what their definition of success is.
For me, it is as simple as what I think it was Dubai's ruler who said, like, success is basically something which we pursue and it's never ending because you never attain it. You just keep on pursuing it. Because once you attain a level, then you look for something else. So there is nothing called like this. But for me, success is more about getting up every time you fall. Like it is not a crime to fall, but it's a crime not stay there and not get up. That's what success for me is. And the moment you realize that it's just one life you got to live, like you clearly realize it, that's when you start living. And everything else, what you think around is like, it's just like people like us, we create rules. Once you got to the boundary, everything is seamless. So success is finding that particular trigger in you. Once you get that trigger, then everything else what you do is successful. I mean, become successful in terms of others. Success is basically on the other person's eye.
That's a unique answer. Over 50 episodes, and that's a unique answer.
Okay.
I like that.
See, that uniqueness is also success, right?
Yeah.
Who are your role models? Like you mentioned the ruler of Dubai. Like, who do you look up to? Who inspires you?
I mean,
could be dead, alive.
Like if you really, if you ask me, like, I have worked with a couple of people who are really big in terms of their business, and one person, his name is Bobby Chemanur. I worked as his personal secretary there. That's where I learned a lot, and he's into the gold business, and he's one of successful jewelry owners in India. And my idol, if you ask me, like business and the way you carry yourself, which is very important, and the values you keep up to. There's a person named M.A. Yusuf Ali. He's the owner of a brand called Lulu. They're big hypermarkets in the Middle East as well as in East Asia, and also into various sectors. So that Yusuf Ali, I would say, is my idol, whom I really carry that success has not consumed him. He's still the human he is, who he was before, and who still he is.
Okay.
Humble, hardworking.
Yeah, I mean, like, see, he is worth around 8.6 billion US dollars. As of today, is his net worth. We walk, we talk like normal XYZ person up and down. He was here in Poland. We're pretty close, not as friends, obviously, like, he's much bigger. He's a mentor kind of a person, but he treats everybody equal. He had just seen me twice in life, but still remembers and gives that space. And you don't feel that you're sitting next to somebody so super special. He doesn't make you feel small. That's the best thing which I learned from him.
That's
that is
like
something which
Sabrina's
I would
net
like
worth is close to that. That's how I feel with Sabrina. That's why I'm doing the podcast with her. She doesn't make me feel
nice.
small. She makes me feel equal.
I'm glad you're manifesting that for me.
Yeah. Great.
What do you do for fun?
I mean, for fun, I look at the numbers, how I can increase from yesterday to today. For me, that's all about the fun part of it. I hate vacations. I hate taking breaks.
It's true. So many people just, fun for them is just growing the numbers.
Yeah. I mean, my wife
higher
tells
profits
me, like,
and high EBITDA margins.
This is the worst thing which I could do, take an Indian to a vacation. I said, like, not all Indians are, your husband is, because it's a different perspective, right? She's a European. She wants to go to beach to enjoy the sun. When I reach the beach, I don't enjoy sun nor the sand. All I look up at is like, if there was a bar or a chiringuito, how much of cocktails would have been sold here? So we have a commercial islands. What can I do? I mean, that's how I'm born with.
We talked about this yesterday with another guest, and we said business is always in our mind, ideas just constantly flowing, right? Yeah.
Is it just us? From the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, we're thinking about how to make more money, but because we enjoy it, not because we're slaves to it.
True. I think like Indians have that
I
drive.
don't know.
I mean, we like numbers. We like to keep
Yeah.
scores. So there is some sort of a trigger. Europeans are more happy. But I've seen in America as well when I was there that Americans also have this kind of keeping score thing. They have it in them. The success is part of the whole journey and part of the whole carrying up. Europeans, if you see Europeans don't really care if they are rich, they're poor, they're this. Everybody are on a Monday to
They're just
Friday.
happy.
They enjoy the
For
weekend.
them, it's a way of life,
Yeah.
Yeah,
quality
happy.
of life.
Like the
Yeah.
Spanish.
Yes.
What do you want for your kids? You want them to be more European mindset, or you want them to be more Indian? You want them to be spelling bee champions?
No, not at all. I just want them to understand that the world is very difficult, very cruel, that will hit them down. The only thing is I want them to learn how to fail, survive, and go forward. I don't care if they take care of any particular culture or they want to do this, that. No, the decision has to be theirs. They should not be afraid to take that decision, no matter if it's wrong or right. It can impact their life, but they have to learn how to fail, how that would impact them, and go forward. Me and my wife always tell them we can support them, facilitate them. We can never dictate them. And I just don't want to be that parent.
It's
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah.
Sabrina, rapid fire.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Some of them are fun questions. And
Mainly stupid questions.
Okay.
First thing that answer first thing that comes to your mind. This one actually isn't a stupid question. One word to describe Malayali beer. One word.
The best.
Best. All right.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, like Shah Rukh Khan's son has this Polish, beer that is
Vodka.
sending
Yes,
from
a vodka.
Poland to India. Vodka brand. Like if you had to have some sort of influencer or a brand ambassador, it could be anybody in the world. Who would be the right person for your brand?
Elon Musk.
Elon.
Interesting. Why Elon?
He's an interesting character, because he's dyslexic, I'm dyslexic, Richard Branson's dyslexic. I love dyslexic people.
All right.
And uber successful, uber wealthy, uber controversial.
Yes.
And smart. He's very smart.
Yeah.
Genius. Okay, good.
One thing that Polish people do better than Indian people.
Clean. They're so clean.
Clean.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Is Poland very clean?
Very,
Never
very
been.
clean. You will be surprised if you come here.
Okay.
Especially my mother-in-law.
Interesting.
I'm really afraid to even sit on a chair when I go there.
Okay, if you had to tattoo two brands on your body, and those two brands, you could have those products or services for life, for free, what would those two brands be?
It would be Ferrari for sure. And the other one would be Emirates, so that I can fly for free wherever I want. That would, save a lot of money.
Good one.
Yeah. Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Okay. One word to describe yourself.
Accidental entrepreneur. Is it 2 words or is it one? Considered one.
Okay, we'll put a hyphenated. Accidental entrepreneur.
I think we'll tolerate that answer, Sabrina.
Yes,
I think
we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah. And what's your life like? Like Nike's slogan would be "Just do it." What's Chandu's slogan in life?
Slogan: good things come to people who wait. That's what the whole world keeps on saying. But there is one more line to that. But those are the leftovers of those who haste.
Got it.
So I like to be fast.
All right.
I don't really keep on looking
Yeah.
at it like, oh, I lost the opportunity. No, I don't.
Just move forward.
Just move forward. Take the risk. If it fails, it's learning process. Move on to the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Just
never
do
failure.
it.
There's always learning.
How does Elon Musk run these 5-6 companies that he's running, multi-billion-dollar companies, and still buy Twitter?
Because he doesn't
he's doing things in haste.
Because he doesn't think.
I thought
If you
he's
stop
all
to
day
think-
thinking.
Yeah. No, he doesn't think at all. If you keep on thinking, you will never do things. Just don't think much. What is the point?
I like your philosophy.
Me too. I feel like you're the business model for Nike. Just do it, the
Yeah,
entrepreneur model for Nike.
yeah.
Just do it. Just keep going. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you read lots of books? Like any books you recommend or any books you gift?
I do read about people. Like, for example, my favorite book is about 7 books of Richard Branson. I read about him. I have read about Musk. I read about Obama. I read about people. I don't read about success books or failure books or business books.
Yeah,
I read about books
biographies.
based on
Yeah,
people. Like, yeah, I mean, technically biographies. Like right now, I'm reading. There's a new book called The Revolutionary Life. It's a very recent edition after uh, declassifying a lot of files about Che Guevara. That's pretty impactful. Like Che Guevara is shown as a communist symbol, but his favorite book was the book by Jawaharlal Nehru, Discovery of India, who is totally non-communist, which many even communists in or Congress in India wouldn't know that. So there are very lot of interesting facts to read about people and to understand the way people think and why are they like that. All I have seen or what I have understood from reading all these books is one common pattern. These are things any person could do. If you take a crowd as well, anybody in the crowd could do the same thing what the leader would do. The only difference is everybody wants someone else to take the mantle. And the person who takes the mantle becomes a leader. There is no much bigger difference. That decision is the only difference, which is between them and the rest. People like to follow mostly. So all you have to do is stand around, lead, follow. That's what
yeah,
Musk
Chandu, did
does.
you read the
yeah.
biography about Steve Jobs?
Yes. How by Walter
That
Isaacson,
was a
yes,
great.
I have done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read that as well, it is
I
the same common pattern. He's a leader more than a business guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
Exactly.
Elon Musk is the way he is because, of lack of love from his father or the bullying he had when he was in school? Like, how much do you think childhood
Oh,
affected
everything
Musk's career?
influences. Everything influences. And, his childhood was tough, and it's two ways. Tough for us to say it is tough. The way he takes it may be a blessing. Because me, I always think that even I had a bit of a rough childhood when I was younger. Like I didn't have this kind of mentoring, nor my father was not the kind of a person who would guide me or lead me. And that is something which I always feel that I'm really thankful to him even today that he didn't do things for me. That actually gave me an opportunity to learn. So it's all about situations in life. We all have situations in life. It's all about how you're going to use them. You can use it either X or either Y. So it's the same thing with Musk. The way Musk used was to maybe, it's an escapism, you could call it that way. And there are certain events in life which you can use as a trigger for, many different situations. Like if I would tell mine, I was deeply in love with a girl in college, but, she ended up marrying someone else. So even today, after so many years, though we are friends, we are really good friends now. We talk and everything, and I'm married, I have kids and everything. I still use that particular incident in my life whenever success gets into my head, when I'm going and reaching things and doing things in life, and when a success reached my head, I use that trigger to tell myself that not everything in life I wanted went in my way to keep me grounded. So I just use situations to tone me down. So maybe Musk is
Maybe it
used
was a
similar.
blessing.
Yeah, it's everything. Everything is a blessing. There is nothing in life which you can turn back and say, oh, that shouldn't have happened. Of course, I mean, apart from death of
Yeah.
somebody who's close to you or anything, but
Yeah,
anything apart from that which didn't kill you is never a problem.
yeah.
Do you think leadership is learned or innate? What's your opinion on that?
Leadership is a decision that you are understanding that you are going to take a decision. It could be right, it could be wrong, but how to live with it, how to not just justify it, keeping on it, but how to live with it, how to be sorry to any person if you have done wrong, that attitude to be humble and also to lead, also to guide and learn from your mistakes and teach the others that it's okay to be wrong, but to get ahead and go ahead. It's not a
I
crime to
think
be wrong.
all entrepreneurs are leaders, right? All entrepreneurs are leaders in some
You
way.
are, you are to be
Leadership
one. I think,
quality.
yes, you are to be one. Only then you can go forward.
Yeah, yeah. I have the most impossible question that I'd like to ask you, which
Sure.
there is no right or wrong answer. And if you don't like the question, we can edit this out, no problem.
Sure.
How do we solve the rape problem we have in India?
Education is the key. Like if you look at the book when you're small, let's say you take a book of 3 year old, I mean like a third standard, or it could be like 7 years or 8 years old. I don't know if you still remember the book in India. The page which clearly shows fair ugly is basically a dark person ugly and the white person is fair. So we are differentiating people from a young age, and we
They
never teach
they still
about.
have that in they still
Absolutely, I
have
mean,
that in the books
yeah, you still have that in
in
the
India.
books. Yeah, and
Okay.
also to change this rape culture or anything, best is actually to have the husband or the father involved in childbirth. Me, I was basically with the midwife when my wife was giving birth to a child, to my first daughter. It was a natural birth. I have seen a woman change to a mother, which took the respect for me in terms of like level of respect towards any female. It just went, I don't know how many fold after seeing that, like how a lady changed to a mother, which a man can't do. And if such things are, more men are involved with women's problems, then men would understand. And restrictions don't help. Like in India, many porn sites are restricted, or it's a basic taboo. Like if you look at besharam.com, that is the only one adult toy website. I know the owner as well. That's the only adult toy website. And why people don't speak about sex or anything in India? These things, more you restrict, the more people are wanting to get it done. And that gets, even for women, there is something to, like, people can have sex with consent, but in India it's seen as something wrong. So then they, even if the woman wanted to be consenting, she would feel it's wrong, and the men would have taken the advantage of it. So these schemes, people have to come out of that mindset. I mean, being virgin or being clean or pure, all these concepts has to come off it. It can change only through education. Of course, it might not change in the next year because we start education today. It would change in 10, 50 years, but something has to start now.
It's a vicious cycle, right? So,
It
like
is.
you
It
said,
is.
you start now, over the next 50 years, hopefully,
Yeah.
our children's children will
And
see
rapes, it's
what's
not
right.
only in India. Let's say, there were like a lot of them in Sweden, in Germany, even in Poland. I have a friend of mine who is actually a rape survivor, but we use the term rape survivor. She doesn't feel that way. She felt it was wrong. She caught the guy. That guy is in the prison right now. She's living a normal life. Nobody judges her because she got raped. In India, the biggest problem is judgment, being judgmental, and you're always thinking like, what would society think about this? The families, imagine, there are like, what we see in the news, what we see, like, read in the newspaper or in the social media, are just a tip of an iceberg. There are many things which are happening even inside families people don't want to talk about, because that would be a disgrace among, for them in the society. This is exactly what I said. Step out of the box. Step out of the box so that you're at least more clear about like what you're doing. You don't have to feel that, okay, they are judging me by my looks, what I did, what I do. Then you will not live. You're not living for yourself. You're living for somebody else. You're living for the rules. We're just slaves of it. Come out of it so things can change. Even with the rape and everything. You can never stop it, because at the end of the day, who does the rape? It's not society is not raping. It's a person who's raping a person. So that person could have any sort of mindset, but at least to tone down, even if, for me, I would say that people should talk about rape and rape victims and everything, even in the schools. They have to have chapters about it, what people have suffered. So at least the perspective of a person looking at a person would change. Because children, if you see, usually what we say is like what we teach them, children grow up to be that person. And what I feel is, when I was small, when I was in class, I think the same thing with you as well. Like when you were small, you had friends. You never thought about their religion. You never thought about what is in their lunchbox. You sat, you share, ate together, and once you grow up, you become conscious. It's actually a reverse project happening. People should have been different before, and they should, what do you call, like, unite once you are smart and educated enough. But what is happening is, once you are educated, you are splitting yourself. That is thanks to reservation. That is thanks to the caste system. There are so many different things which are actually splitting people. We have to take that off, and that has to start from a very young age.
Chandu, I think you need to come back to India and become a politician.
That's the
after
plan.
exiting your beer business and start
That is the plan.
helping out.
10 years
Would you
from
like
now.
to get into politics?
Yeah, absolutely. That is the
All
plan.
right.
I've actually had an interview 3 weeks back as well for a book called Successful Indians in Poland for the 78th Independence Day celebration. And the one which I gave in, I clearly mentioned that I would return back to India. What I've learned from traveling in the world, I would really love to do. Sitting on the sidelines and preaching will never work. You have to enter the system, be a part of it, have it in you, change. Because people anywhere in the world, they speak about or against politicians. And I always ask them, who put them there? People like us, we vote them, we put them there. Why? We want somebody else to do our job. And we are happy living with it, going for vacations and doing this. Nobody wants to do the extra work. But no, I want to take it up and do it.
I mean,
You know,
you clearly
Kamala,
have the leadership skills, right? I mean, he's clearly a
yes,
leader, Sabrina.
absolutely. And it reminds me, last night I watched Kamala Harris's speech at the DNC, and she said her mom, who's Indian, told her, don't sit on the sidelines and complain, do something.
Yes.
Get up and do something about it. And Michelle Obama said the same thing the other night.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah. So,
That's
I
what we
mean, I
need to
don't
teach
have
our
this.
kids.
I never complain. I never complain because I understand that why would I complain? If I could have done it, I should have done it. Why rather complain? Try and find a way to be the person to do it. Complaints won't change.
I love it. I really like you. Please, when you come to the US and bring your beer, please call me.
Absolutely.
I thought you were going to say when you come to the US and you come with your wife, come and meet me. And you instead of the wife, you said beer.
All of it. Oh, I said your beer instead
You
of
said
your
beer
wife.
instead of your family. I was like, Sabrina, we have to be nice to our guests.
Well, I want to
That's fine.
support his
I
product.
mean, I wouldn't have thought about
I
my
can
wife as well. I would have thought about the beer.
here. Yeah, exactly.
I apologize. I got your name wrong earlier, Chandu.
That's
I
fine.
apologize for that.
I mean, my beer's name has to be right. My name is irrelevant.
Yeah. Notice I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Yeah.
Any questions for us? Chandu, do you have any questions for us?
I mean, I just want to know, like you said, it's a 50th episode. So when did you start and how and why did you start this? Is there any specific reason? Like something motivated you to start this?
I think we knew there were people like you out there that can share your stories and your journey, and by sharing the story in a fun format like a podcast, we think like the entertainment and the inspirational stories come out. So if people have the patience to sit and learn and want to like listen to other brown stories as opposed to just seeing the typical Elon Musk and Steve Jobs stories, there's a lot of, I think, content that can be extracted, and a lot of like, if she could do it, so can I. So I think what you've done, finding an opportunity in such a bad incident as is the unexpected war, and making a business out of this, and married a Polish girl and just living your best days and still doing it in such an honorable manner. And you're not only an entrepreneur, you're a hero. And look at what you want to do in 10 years time. You want to come back to India and pass on your learnings like you, which is totally inspiring to me and Sabrina. All our previous guests as well have something or the other that has blown us away. I mean, yesterday, Sabrina and I were blown away by a 22-year-old girl, who basically told Harvard to fuck off, in a commencement speech. That takes balls, and she's 22.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I mean, and these are brown stories that we want to spread to the rest of the Indian diaspora.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this, and we're loving it. We're having a great time, and hopefully we do this forever.
When he brought the idea to me,
question which you asked before about what does success in life means. Success in life means only one simple thing. As I said, that you've got only one life to live, and you start living, and your life becomes inspirational for others. That is the success you can attain. On a personal level, you're not going to attain anything. People speak about people who died. We speak about Gandhi. We speak about them. They all died. They went. Why do we speak about them? Because they inspired us in some way. So that is the success which they attained, which we will never see in our lifetime, maybe. But as I said, that is a never-ending story. It keeps on going. But if you can inspire at least one person to do something different, that's all success is all about.
That's correct. That's great.
Yeah. We want to make one person smile or one person think that's a good idea and I can do it.
Yeah.
That's it for us. Yeah. Sabrina, you were
Exactly.
going to say something.
I was going to say, you asked when we started, and we started the beginning of last year in 2023. And, we were like, let's do this. It'll be fun. We'll, meet different people. But I can speak for both of us when I say this has exceeded our expectations about the people we're going to meet and how much we're going to be entertained and inspired. Just today alone, I've met you once on Zoom for 15 minutes, and then this conversation has just exceeded my expectations too.
That's nice. I mean, there are a lot of interesting people out there, and every life has a story.
Very
Everyone
much
has a
so.
story.
I mean, exactly.
Chandu, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot for having me.
I'm very confident that your beer brand is going to crush it and expand to become. And I think you might be bought by Heineken or Carlsberg one day for, if this growth continues. And I'd love it if you do eventually come back to India and, help in your skill sets. So thanks again.
And thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Amit. It was lovely meeting and talking to you.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely meet in person.
Same to you. And yes, please. You, your wife, your kids, and your beer.
Absolutely.
I only want to meet his wife. I don't want to meet him and his kids. I've met him. I want to meet his wife now. I want to get to know her and do the same interview with her. Perspective of marrying an Indian guy.
Oh yeah. Definitely. You should do that.
Yes.
I'm sure she won't be like him. I'm sure she will complain about him.
No, she would just say this, that, she will never repeat, the mistake in life. It's only done once. Second time, it would be a choice.
So she won't marry an Indian again. No. She'll never marry an Indian. My wife will say the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah. She keeps saying that she hates roller coaster, but unfortunately her life is in one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
My wife would say exactly the same thing. Yeah. And we're not changing.
Wrong.
No, it's not what we're enjoying every moment of life. And when something doesn't work out, we don't complain about it. We look for the next thing, even though that change could be 180 degrees. We're comfortable with that change because we feel it's the right direction to move forward and not regret and look back and complain and whine. Why is this happening to me? Yeah. That's what we're doing right. That's what we're doing wrong.
Oh my goodness. We're not even going to get into this even more. On that note, thank you, everyone. This has been a wonderful conversation with Chandu. We hope you enjoyed it as well. Please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Have a great day, everyone.